On this week's program, Save versus BS joins the BS conversation on DM screens. Die in Place makes a clerical error. The one-to-one timekeeping discussion simply refuses to go away. And Marcin reposts some compost. That's right, folks. I'm Daniel. You're watching Driving and Dragons. It's Monday, and that means it is once again time for Intelligence as a Dump Stat, the weekly wade through the wastewater opinions of the TTRPG hobby. While you are here, make sure you check out our brand new membership programs. I'll be setting up a members-only live stream in the near future, and check out my Patreon. Paid members in either place will be automatically entered to win the 1974 Dodge Dart I'll be giving away, once it's finished anyway, and you'll be helping support the channel as I strive to bring you TTRPG content from a unique perspective. Speaking of the Dart, latest update is that it is back with the state of New York. Paperwork has been corrected, and the car should be free to transport in the next week or so. We hope. While you're here, like and share the video. Subscribe to the channel, and jump down in the comment section to add your 2 cents to the discussion. And let's get stupid. Opening up the festivities is a channel here on the YouTubes that I actually am pretty fond of, Save versus BS. This time, however, he failed to save with a video on the hobby's latest controversy, DM screens. Now this may seem like deja vu. Last week I covered what appears to be the genesis of this brand new hobby dividing topic that everyone was unaware of until Tuesday before last. But alas, it hasn't completely died, and now we're getting video content about something that no one ever cared about. Save vs. BS implored us all to let go. Stop using the DM screen as a security blanket. It separates us from our players and divides us all for some illusion of control and authority. Also, if your game can be undone by a bad die roll, well, your game wasn't ready to play yet anyway. It's actually kind of annoying that people are trying to make DM screen debates a thing. Player eye contact? Are these people using full-size cardboard panels for a GM screen? The largest GM screen I've ever personally seen is less than a foot tall, and the GM's entire head and most of his shoulders are clearly visible above it. This guy is acting like you've built a crenellated battlement between the GM and the players. He also talks about this illusion of authority. Seriously? You're an old-school guy. You should know better. There is no illusion. In order for the game to run properly, the GM is the absolute authority and needs to be in control. Doesn't need to be an illusion. A good 90% of the problems we see in modern games comes from the fact that toxic player agency relegates the DM to the position of a court jester dancing to amuse his noble players. Your game is to blame if a bad die roll can blow it up. Timing and placement are everything. You ever seen America's Funniest Home Videos? Go tell that full-grown man crying in the fetal position with his hands clutching his groin that he clearly isn't tough enough if one headbutt from a 2-year-old can leave him in tears. In the end, this is just more evidence that no one is crying about the use of GM screens. Finding things to complain about regarding their use is such a stretch it's taking home gold in the Olympics. Die in Place had one of the all-time head-scratchers this week. Vision Storm reposted in a reply to this gem. Clerics have been largely emasculated in D&D, at least by convention. What should potentially be the most versatile class has been pretty much relegated to a support class, only suitable for NPCs. In the words of the Virgin Mary, come again? Or as Vision Storm said, wait, what? Clerics have routinely increased in durability, versatility, and overall prowess with every edition of Dungeons & Dragons. Seriously, where many classes suffered from the this was broken and overpowered in last edition, so we're going to make sure it's like bottom of the barrel in this edition curse, or vice versa, looking at you, druids and bards. The cleric went from basically a hybrid fighter magic user to an undead turning armored battlecaster to gaining spheres of influence with additional powers to having an above average hit die, spells, domains, spontaneous casting, armor, and the ability to use any weapon at the cost of a feat slot, all the way to gaining things like channel divinity and more pronounced domain powers. Clerics have been one of the most adaptable, customizable, balanced, and powerful classes in D&D since at least 3rd edition, and arguably since AD&D. To suggest that there's some kind of MMORPG healbot buff monkey is just idiotic. What needs to die in place is stupid takes like this one. In a debate that never ends, one-to-one timekeeping continues to be a raging argument that features a lot of talking past each other and being intentionally obtuse. I'm not naming a lot of names here, but largely because it would end up being like 1 Chronicles in the Bible, an endless list of names and allegiances. The gist of this week's fun is that the anti-one-to-one crowd is taking the various examples of where one-to-one dramatically improves gameplay, and they're loudly proclaiming that it's absolutely not needed. Of course, the one-to-one zealots retaliate by insisting that without one-to-one, those games must be trash instead of countering with valid points for what should be an easy win. I'm going to make this about as easy as I can. Just because I can jam a pocket knife into a screw and turn it does not mean that a screwdriver is suddenly useless and not at all the superior all-around choice for turning a screw. Saying things like, I do domain play with multiple game masters all the time without using one-to-one time, and it works fine. One-to-one is a pointless complication, is basically telling someone offering you a screwdriver to piss off because you have a pocket knife. Likewise, claiming that someone can't effectively turn a Phillips head screw with a flathead screwdriver rather than simply pointing out that the proper screwdriver has significant advantages, and that's equally stupid. Absolutism is a bitch, folks. If you're making an absolutist argument, chances are you're making an incorrect or at least a very flawed argument. Absolutist positions are correct, that are correct. Those things are few and far between, and I have yet to find one in the TTRPG space. Last but not least, we visit Marcin of Marcin's RPG Art. This is a truly talented artist. He produces some fantastic classic fantasy artwork. This week, however, he produced a hot take that looked like a banana nailed to a board, or that it was, that painting by some dude who dipped his wang in latex house paint before dry humping a canvas. He reposted a graphic along with the caption, I've seen Dead Shuck posting it, and it's too good not to repost it. That's the way of a good DM/GM. Thoughts? The image in question says, Dungeon Master. The trick is to let the players win, but never let them know that you let them win. This one is just bad. This is the dice fudging to ensure the players never struggle kind of bad. This is a TPK is a failure as a GM kind of bad. This is not the hallmark of a good game master. A good GM is focused on realism in that the world behaves predictably. That means that PCs can lose, particularly when they do something stupid. Dice fudging and changing the decisions of NPCs or the behavior of monsters, it's not there to ensure that the players quote-unquote win. It's there as a last resort when either mistakes were made by the GM or when random chance has resulted in an incredibly outsized impact that negatively affects the game. If the GM is just there to make sure the players win, put the dice away and get rid of the character sheets. Just narrate what happens in your story circle. This graphic that he shared is idiotic, and it leads to bad game master habits. You have to let your players fail and let their characters die. Otherwise, there will never be any stakes in your game. No stakes, no excitement, no fun. That's all I got for this week's, folks. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and comment, and check out my Patreon and channel memberships, and I'll see you guys next time.